Hello my fellow gamers and welcome to my SimCity video tutorials. Yes, I know it's been a long time. I have gotten a job, had to move, got a new PC, so finally I have time to make some new tutorials. Today I have a special for you. xCuboxMagicox has issued me a challenge on my YouTube page to make a city that is self-sustaining, has a 100k population and a 95 approval rating. I say, challenge accepted. Now, just a few things before I start. This is post 8.0 patch, and for a while now you need industrial for your city to work. So my city is going to have industrial so that the commercial sector can receive freight and be operational. On a side note, just so you know, I am not going to be posting any videos about SimCity Cities of Tomorrow because I do not wish to support EA or Maxis with my money for a game that they have not yet even finished, but they're spilling out extra content and new expansions. I'm not going to pay for it, I'm not going to post videos about it until they fix their base game and make it worth the money we already paid for it. Just so you know. So, now that we have that out of the way, let's go and create a region. I'm going to use the Horizon Archipelago for this challenge. This is because it has some very nice plots with high wind speeds. I'm going to name it the Challenge Land. Make it a private region, and I'm not even going to use sandbox mode even though my challenger said I could. I'm going to choose this plot right here. It has high wind speeds which are going to allow me to use clean power that is going to be made by a wind power plant, and I'm not even going to need a lot of windmills. So let's claim this plot and start playing. So what is the first thing I ever taught you about SimCity? I taught you that planning is everything in this game. So that is exactly what I must do now. I have to plan out this future city to the last possible detail right now while I'm looking at an empty stretch of land. So let's see what do we have to work with in this plot. The water is here on the left, in the middle and on top. As for the winds are going up, which means that all the pollution from my industrial will be pushed up, which means that my industrial has to be on the top side of this map. That means that any water that is going to be here is going to be contaminated, which means the only water I can use is the one that's over here and the little bit of water that's over here. That means that if I'm going to have water here, I cannot have sewage here, but sewage can go onto this side over here. As for the power, that's going to be a wind power station. And since the industrial is going to be up here, the water is going to be over here, the sewage is going to be over here, I can make my wind power plant either in the middle or above here somewhere next to the water and the industrial. As for the residential and commercial, I'm going to have a little bit of commercial right next to the industrial, then I'm going to have the residential, then again a little bit commercial, and then again some more residential. Since this is going to be something of a grid city, I am probably going to have roads going like this throughout the map. I'm not going to make anything very complex, just a nice grid where I can fit enough buildings to have 100,000 people living in this city, and I am hoping I can use lots of medium density and maybe a few buildings of high density just to push over to the 100,000 mark. Now, as I said, since these are going to be grids, I am going to have to put my health, police, schools somewhere around the middle so that they can go everywhere. That may require somewhat of a roundabout in the middle, and on the inside I could have all those buildings, services, while the town hall can be somewhere in the start. The mayor's manor is going to be somewhere close to it, and same thing for the mayor's house. Now the reason why I'm going to put the mayor's mansion in this city is upgrades, because once you start upgrading it, it's going to send out waves of happiness throughout your city. Citizens are going to say, we are happy about civil buildings that are in your city. So that is actually going to increase my mayor's approval rating, which is one of the goals my challenger has set for me. So that is going to help out with achieving that goal. As I said, I'm probably going to have a few buildings of high density in order to have those 100,000 people, but those are most likely going to require a whole lot of power, which could be a problem later on because a wind power plant is just not sufficient enough for high density buildings, which asks for a lot of power. So like I said, you really have to plan for everything, and I just did plan for everything that I had the knowledge to plan for. So now let's start building this thing. You have to be extremely careful in the start not to spend too much on your roads, because if you spend too much on your roads, you're not going to have enough money to build a big enough grid to start racking in some nice simoleons from your residential, commercial and industrial. So like I said, have to be careful not to spend too much on the roads at the start. Now I could use a medium density avenue to start the city off and get to maybe half its length, but as you can see, that would cost around 7,000 simoleons. Now that is a pretty steep price. How much would a medium density street cost me? Around 6,000, so not too big of a difference. Now going to an only 2-lane street, a low density street, would reduce the price by half, so only 3,500. The problem is this street cannot support enough traffic because it will have only 1 lane on the right side and 1 lane on the left side. So for this city I am going to start with a few thousand worth of a medium density avenue. Let's say try not to spend too much money and go to 4,000. So now we are down to 45,000. Let's start getting some roads off to the sides so I can build the required power station, water station, garbage, sewage, and so on. As I said, the water has to go here. Now later on I might have to go up to the water pumping stations from the water towers. I'm not sure exactly am I going to need it. Maybe I will, maybe I don't. But for now I'm going to just start with water towers along this edge of the map. So I need to grab one of these dirt roads, which are the cheapest roads, and just pull it from, let's say, from over here, because I want to leave a little bit more room than just this much on the left side. So I'm going to go from here, hold the shift key to get a straight road, and go all the way to the edge. So going to the edge is going to cost me around 2,000. Now the question you always have to ask yourself, do I want a road that is going to go along the edge, or do I want a road that's parallel to the edge? This depends on where do you want your first buildings that are coming in from the edge of the map to be turned to once they go to medium density. If you set your roads here, then you are going to have your buildings go to medium density and have their exits and entrances on this street over here. Means that their backs are turned to the edge of the map. Now this is going to add a little bit more space to your map. If you put a road onto the edge of the map, then buildings are going to have their entrances and exits onto the edge of the map while their backs are going to be turned towards the map. Now this is going to cost you a little bit of space. Now since I'm trying to reach 100,000 people in this city, space is going to be at a premium. So I'm going to try and not spend that space for a street. So I'm going to have my street over here like this. So let's go back to the starting point, put down a road which is going to go right towards this marker. Then I'm going to have it go down and up. Now I just have to let some time pass so that these buildings get unlocked. Now I can pause again. Now, as you can see, there is going to be a little bit of room left. If I put the water tower here, it could go all the way to the edge of the map. Now, the trick is, if you go towards the edge of the map, the amount of water that you can suck up from the ground is going to drop. This is because there is no water outside of the edge of the map. So even if I had pushed this water tower all the way here, it would have less water to pull out, just as you can see here. The farther you go away from the edge of the map and the more water there is around the water tower, the more water it will be able to pump out. So if I look at these numbers, 1500, 1600, this is the most optimum spot for this water tower. Now my city has water. The next thing I need to set up is the wind power plant. I said I could have it in the middle or on to the left, but I also said in the middle I'm going to put my civic buildings. So the middle is taken and the only place left is here on the left. Now, a wind power plant takes quite a lot of space. So what I should do is have it turned onto the right side like this, but for that to happen I need a road. Now I'm going to have to either pull a road to the edge of the map or have it turned on the other side like this and have one road that is going to be over here. I'm going to have this wind power plant turned onto the right side so I can go and expand the space I'm going to be using for my wind turbines. So I need to put a part of this road next to the edge of the map. I'm not going to do it too close to the water so I can have enough space here for future water towers or even a water pumping station. So let's say I go up to about half or maybe 3/5 of the map, about here, and now I go all the way to the edge of the map and make a road here. Now this is where I'm going to put this wind power plant. See what next do we need? Next we need sewage. As I said, I'm going to place the sewage as far away from this water as possible. That's going to be about here. So once again I need a road that's gonna go over there. I'm going to use the same spot as I've used before. Since this is just the start of the city and I don't wish to spend too much money on roads, I am not going to care that that is a four-way intersection. The kind of intersections I want to be avoiding later on. So for the start, I'm going to pull it to the same place as before. Now the trick is, there is a railroad right here, which means that if you look at this spot, it's not the same width as it is over here. Now that means that there isn't enough space here for a medium density building, even though the road lines may be telling you that there is. Now the good thing is there might be just enough space for this sewage outflow pipe to be placed here. So I might actually, instead of putting it all the way up here, I might actually put it right here. Perfect. Let's see, do I want to go all the way to the edge? No, I think I'm going to leave this part for maybe something else later on. So I'm going to put this sewage outflow pipe about here. Now I'm down to half my budget, 24,000. The only building that I have left to build is the waste disposal, but the trick is you do not have to build it right on the first day. You can build it around the second or maybe even the third day, so you do not have to spend 9,000 on it straight away. What you should do is go to the education and say guide me. This because once you start building the grade school on your second day, you're going to start getting missions, and for those missions you're going to get sim allowance. So every upgrade that you have to do for the grade school is actually going to be paid out by the specialization of education, which is going to save you a lot of money in the start when you are having a problem with a low budget. I think this video is already gonna be quite long, so I'm going to stop here and continue on in the next video. Thank you for watching, stay tuned, and tell me in the comments what do you think the city should look like.